let's start with the facts first. Every day, 7,000 young people drop out of high school. And they make that decision to drop out of high school actually in middle school. Most of those students who decide to drop out of high school because they've decided that it's boring, there's no relevancy, they're not engaged. 1 in 5 Americans are functionally illiterate. By the age of 17, 44% of youth of color are functionally illiterate. That means they cannot write and they cannot read. And 1/3 of all employers say that the most serious problem that they have with their employees is that they don't actually know how to write or have good writing or reading skills. So where do we come in for that? So we're a set of nonprofits, there are 8 of us across the country, that are working to assist young people with their writing skills. So we do this, well, our way is creative. The idea was to really build on the one thing that we all know how to do, which is writing, and that brings in a lot of the volunteers and a lot of the creativity for it. And how do we do that? Well, I think the one reason why we're here for that, we've got the 8 centers. Now, we started in San Francisco here. I don't know how many of you have ever been to 826 Valencia? Raise your hand. Oh my God, that's a lot of people. Okay, perfect. So there are actually now 8 of us. We have centers in Los Angeles, Seattle, New York, Boston, DC, Michigan, and Chicago. I'm going to show you a little short video so you can get a little flavor of how it's all started and what we do.
Story about a unique group of places where kids learn it can be cool to do homework and work hard and write well. It may be what's out front that draws them in, but it's what's happening in the back that's making a difference. Our report tonight from NBC's Willie Geist.
In Gotham City, there's a place where the crime-fighting elite go to stock up on the essentials. Brooklyn's superhero supply store.
X-ray glasses.
12-year-old Alex Casimir showed me the tools of the superhero trade, from a gallon of cloning fluid to the all-important cape.
Perfect.
Yeah? Despite my questionable superhero credentials, Alex let me in on the store's secret.
What is this?
Behind a hidden door, I discovered the key to Alex's powers.
The most important thing before being awesome, looking good in tights, you need to be well educated.
This is 826 NYC, part of a network of 8 nonprofit centers across the country that offer kids free tutoring and creative writing workshops. In Ann Arbor, Michigan, there's a robot repair shop. In Boston, a Bigfoot Research Institute. And at 826 headquarters in San Francisco, a pirate store. The unusual storefronts lure in curious passersby, and once you're inside, 826 taps into your imagination. And every time someone makes a purchase, say a canister of alien drones, the proceeds support the free education programs.
So that equals 2.
That one-on-one attention really changes a kid's life.
Make that 25,000 lives. That's how many kids the 4,000 volunteers serve every year.
I always leave here feeling better than I did when I come in.
We're gonna write a book today.
On this day in San Francisco, a class of 4th graders will become authors.
We're writing a story about a half giraffe and a half iguana.
And back at the superhero shop in Brooklyn, young minds are dreaming up new worlds.
Do you have a superhero name?
Yeah.
What is it?
Junior.
Junior?
Young superheroes teaming up with their dedicated sidekicks, the volunteers who work without the fancy capes. Willie Geist, NBC News, Brooklyn.
So I have to tell you how it all started. And Dave Eggers, our co-founder. So with McSweeney's, he has a set of writers who, because writers have a lot of free time, they decided, well, you know what, we should start tutoring because there are all these students running up and down the street who need some help, and we should be writing, and they should be writing. So what they did at first was put out a shingle in front of McSweeney's, which is on Valencia Street, and put up something that said free tutoring. Yeah, so you think about it, you know, who's gonna actually, it's like free ice cream. You know, like, really, are you gonna go in? So they decided, well, let's build a center and we'll have the kids come into there and we'll do all the work from there. So they opened up 826 Valencia and began to gut the space out. It was an old gym, and started everything and decided to, you know, this is perfect, except the space is zoned for retail. So the problem, you can't open anything until you put a retail outlet there. So they thought they'd do taxidermy because Dave Eggers, for some reason, knows about taxidermy. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But it turns out that 826 Valencia is located next to the only taxidermy store in all of San Francisco. So after they gutted the place and looked at it, it's this beautiful, the inside, and this might not be the best slide, but if you can see inside, it's all this exposed wood. It's gorgeous inside. So as they sat back and thought about it, they said, well, you know what? Why don't we stick it to the man and sell pirate supplies? So they started creating pirate supplies. Peg leg oil, scurvy be gone. We've got all these volunteers who have design backgrounds, and all of these products we create ourselves to sell. And the idea for the store is that it's supplies for the working buccaneer. So they started selling the supplies, and they opened up the tutoring center, and kids started to come in and started to work, and we got volunteers coming in who'd heard through McSweeney's about what was going on. And to our surprise, it actually started to make money. The store now, the pirate store, is about 10% of the income for our center. The rest we do through corporate, foundation, individual gifts. But it's about 10% of the revenue for the store. On any given day, you can walk into the store. People come from all over the world to come into the store and see. And then if you look behind the curtain, there are about, each day, 50 to 60 kids working on their homework with a ton of volunteers. We have right now, when they did the NBC video, that was about a year ago. Right now, currently, we have 29,000 students that we work with every year and 6,000 volunteers nationwide that work with all of our kids. So 826 Valencia gets popular, people love it, and suddenly people in some other cities are like, well, this sounds like a great idea. Why don't, do you think we could work it? We want to put a pirate store in Park Slope. That works. But we don't like to replicate ourselves. So we decided, well, you've got a creative community here, you've got people, let's come up with a different theme. The kids are going to be interested in something completely different. If you go here, most of the stories are not about pirates. We actually have a National Pet Writing Month where the kids write to their pets, and then we bring in the pets and they read the stories to the pets. We have, there's Fish and Chips Day, and that's a fun day, but writing about French fries is really long. So New York started. We got to the Brooklyn Superhero Supply Store. It's in Park Slope, and it is an office depot for superheroes. So also thinking along the lines of, well, let's create some products. So at any moment, you can go in and get some antimatter, or a gallon of gravity, or my favorite is vengeance, because the line between villains and superheroes is very thin. But it's the same aspect, and I'm not going to tell you where the secret door is, so if you go to the Brooklyn Superhero Supply Store, you have to find the secret door on your own. The kids know where it is. It actually is the most amazing thing. If we have customers in the store, and a group of 10-year-olds walk in, and they know where the door is, and they pull it open, and they start to shuffle in. And then they close the door, because you have to close the door behind you. And you see the customer stand there going, where did all those kids go? They went back here. So the idea behind the space was to make the space as inviting as possible for the students. The idea behind that is that it's not, this is we call it third place, and it's a lot in education that they talk about third place, that it's not home and it's not school, but it's a place that the students feel completely comfortable, that they own, and it's their space. And if you go in at any point in time, that is theirs. I mean, when I started my job, I walked in the first day, and literally 5 of them walked up to me and said, "Who are you? And what do you mean you're the CEO?" And then one said he wants to be the CEO, so I have an apprentice now. His name's Santiago. He is. And Santiago and I sit down at the bench and look around, and I say, "So what's going on here, Santiago?" And he's like, "Well, don't trust that kid." So after New York, of course, we got to LA. Each store has a different theme. The theme fits to where, to the city. So for LA, it's the Echo Park Time Travel Mart, and it's a 7-Eleven for time travelers. This is where you get the Viking deodorant. Several other products. We've got Mammoth Chunks, robot milk, and the design element, I think, if you think about why we do this, the creative element of everything is infused through everything we do. To get the kids to be excited about writing and to be excited about creativity and to we like to think of it as this sort of stealth program. They come in, they sit down, there's a volunteer there waiting for them to work with them. They're writing their stories, and they're learning, but it's fun. And the whole idea behind ours was that, behind 826, is that it should be fun. It shouldn't be boring, dull, and commonplace. You can read, we have reading time, students write, the spaces, there are couches everywhere, and the parents are very involved too. Most of our centers have a parent advisory council, and the parents sit off to the side, and they're very welcome there and can see what's going on. So Chicago, we have the Boring Store, which is a spy store, but you're not supposed to know it's a spy store. Seattle's, we got the Greenwood Space Travel Store. Like I said, and the stores are, as we think about the products and the placement of everything, it's really about how do you make this a gateway to the community, but also how you destigmatize the idea of going to a tutoring center. You know, the students are already thinking, and many students we work with are under-resourced. They're not the best students. So how do you get it so that they feel comfortable walking in the door? So that's where, that's the first part and the first project, is that this space travel store in the middle of the block that you would never think about, actually in the back, houses a beautiful tutoring center. We've got the robot store in Michigan, and the robot store is in Ann Arbor, near the campus of the University of Michigan, and every now and then, people who actually build robots come in to buy supplies. That's always fun. There is actually now a working robot in the window, and his name is Ernie, I believe. He doesn't do very much, but he's working. And so creating the products, we also sell anything robot themed there, and it's all about raising money. We also sell our books. We sell robot emotions because robots actually hate humans, and so we want them to not hate us. It's Bigfoot Research Center in Boston. It is the place for cryptozoologists. It's a new word I learned. I did not know that before. Newest one we just opened, that actually opened at the time I started, was called the Museum of Unnatural History in Washington, D.C. So the Museum of Unnatural History is for things that made it through evolution and then got to the end and thought, okay, I'm tired. I don't want to be around anymore. So it has the only working cave in a store in North America. And we have a student who goes into who is in the cave. It's the only place he'll do work because it's the quietest place in the building. So we also have I'm not sure what the animal is, but we created all our own animals. There's an inverted coyote. That was my invention. There's also an owlephant. And the products for this, the volunteers, how 826 DC came along was that the volunteers from the neighborhood started a nonprofit called Capital Letters, met Dave, talked to us, and said, well, you know what, we actually want to do this. So we told them, you have to come up with a theme, pick the neighborhood you want, where you want it to be, and open up. So their first theme was a circus theme, and we're like, you know what, that's so incredibly obvious, and everyone hates clowns, really. So do something different. So they came up, since DC is the home of every museum possible, they came up with the name and all the products. And the koala containment unit is my favorite, that's why the picture's up here, because on the back it says, koalas are not as nice as you think they are. And you have to put the koala in upside down. So all of this, the programs that we have, that we're trying to foster creativity, it's tutoring, we have writing workshops, we have field trips where the students come in, and as they talked about at the NBC piece, the students will come in and for 2 hours work with a group of volunteers and illustrators and write a story. And the story has to be something completely made up that they can. If they come talk about SpongeBob SquarePants, we shut that down. They have to create the story themselves. The illustrators illustrate it, and in the 2 hours, the students then step back. They write their own ending. We take a very nice author photo, because all books have author photos, and they get to take the book home. And I met one of our funders. Her daughter came to an 826 workshop 7 years ago, and she said, oh, that book is still on her shelf. That's all she talks about. So that bookmaking for students to become working authors is amazing. We also do in-school programs where we take the volunteers into the schools to help with the teachers, because for us, the teachers are we're just there to be a resource for the teachers. The teachers are doing all the hard work. We're just there to help them out on whatever project they have. And we do student publishing. So every year, We produce about 900 publications, from actual books, chat books, those storytelling and bookmaking publications. So Mrs. Obama book, because they were so excited about the president, they wrote the first book was called Thanks and Have Fun Running the Country. And then they got to this book where we got students from across the country to write letters to Michelle Obama. And my favorite is where they tell them, don't let your husband dance anymore because he's horrible at it, but you're very nice and I wish you were my mom. So, right quick, how we know it works? 29,000 students. We've got about 91% of the students that participate finish their homework. 90%, the parents are saying that this is actually working. The students are doing what they do. The field trips, the teachers love, and all this is possible by about the 6,000 volunteers we have nationwide. So I can tell you, if you live near or are around an 826, come in the door, buy some products, buy some saber-tooth dental floss if you're in DC, and come in and volunteer and work. We would love to have you. Thank you very much.